The great white shark is one of the most feared species of shark due to its imposing size, powerful appearance, and its huge, sharp teeth. Its carnivorous diet and attacks on humans have contributed to its reputation as a man-eater. Hit that like button and subscribe right now. Jurien Bay is a coastal town about 275 kilometers from Perth, located in Western Australia. It is considered to be a family favorite, with great swimming opportunities and beautiful crystal-clear beaches. It's a popular fishing spot, with many species readily available, such as herring and various shark species. Aside from those who enjoy the sport, there's plenty of fresh fish available for those who enjoy eating it without having to catch it first. Amazing restaurants offering hundreds of different styles of cooking. The area is also well known for its Australian sea lions, which are classified as endangered as the population continues to decrease over time. Since Jurien Bay is home to around 21% of the total population of this animal, many people come to visit for a chance to catch a glimpse of them before it's too late. With such a dense population of sea lions in one area, predators are always nearby. The locals know to be careful when entering these waters if they want to make it out alive. On August 19, 1967, Robert Bartle and his friend Lee Warner were preparing their dive at Jurien Bay. They were both in their 20s and were very experienced divers and spearfishers who enjoyed being in the ocean as much as possible. Early in the morning that day, the sea was particularly cool, with a slight swell that seemed even more inviting. The problem with this swell is that it dragged up a lot of sand and silt from the ocean floor, significantly reducing the visibility underwater. There were already other divers in the water by the time they arrived, and many people were practicing for a spearfishing competition that would take place in the next month. They quickly got ready, changing into black neoprene suits and grabbing their single rubber spear guns, ready to see what they could find under the waves. Unfortunately for them, they would find much more than they bargained for, and only one of them would leave the water that day. Using floats, they were towed out into the deeper waters until they were about 700 meters away from the shore. They could see that the sea floor was barren beneath them until they spotted some limestone ledges, which encouraged them to begin their dive. They knew that this environment was favored by large jewfish and were likely to make a decent catch if they went a little deeper. Lee initially remained on the surface to make sure everything was safe, while Robert dived down to investigate the area and see if any fish were hiding within the caves. Unfortunately, he couldn't find any signs of the fish, so decided that it would be best to move to another area instead. He began his ascent back to the surface with Lee, but as he was looking upwards, he spotted a large dark figure barreling towards him from the murky water. He stayed still, staring at the figure as it dove down closer and closer towards him from the surface. He was frozen in fear as he slowly realized the size of the creature swimming towards him. He was quickly face to face with a large great white shark, the most aggressive species of shark in the world. It was around 14 feet long and was using its powerful tail to effortlessly close the gap between itself and Robert. Robert had no time to react. As soon as he realized what was approaching him, it was already too late. The shark grabbed Robert between the hip and the shoulder, sinking its teeth deep into his body. The water immediately started turning red as his blood began to dye the ocean around him. He tried to struggle while punching the shark, but he was no match against an 1,800-pound animal. He felt the animal readjust its grip on his body tighter as it began to shake him with immense force, breaking his neck with whiplash in the process. As it shook him, his body began to break apart like a straw toy in the mouth of a dog. The only mercy that Robert was afforded was that he died relatively quickly. Unlike bears, who will start eating their prey before they have died, great white sharks will focus on killing their prey first to avoid any further resistance. With one final shake, Robert's body was ripped into two, and the shark continued to circle the boat with his upper body still in its mouth, ready to be devoured later. Lee had been watching this attack in horror, seeing his friend brutally attacked and killed in front of him. It was immediately obvious that Robert was dead and there was nothing to be done. But now the shark had spotted him and had begun to circle him about 3 meters below. Seeing his friend Robert's upper body still in the shark's mouth, he knew that it wouldn't hesitate to kill him and that he now needed to fight for his own life. He looked around for something that he could use to save himself and spotted Robert's spear gun floating near him on the surface. He quickly grabbed it and fired it at the animal, hoping to strike it in the eye to scare it away from him. Despite being an experienced fisherman, the anxiety and terror of the situation proved to be too much, and he missed the shot, sending the spear rocketing past the shark's head. The animal was undeterred and continued circling him as it prepared to strike once again. By some miracle, the shark had unexpectedly gotten entangled in the ropes of the floats and the spear gun, triggering the shark to start thrashing in the water trying to free itself. This gave Lee enough time to begin his escape. He hurriedly started swimming back to shore, swimming backwards and keeping the shark in his sights as much as he could to prevent another sneak attack. After an agonizing length of time, Lee reached the surface and pulled himself to shore, finally free from the tirade of the infamous great white shark. Now that he was on shore, he needed to tell someone what had happened. Robert's family had to be told. He ran to Robert's car but was unable to find the keys. Frustrated, he found keys belonging to another diver who was still in the water and took them, deciding that the diver would understand the circumstances in which his car was taken. He drove to a nearby fishing village 10 kilometers away and quickly found someone who owned a boat and begged them for help. He told Harry Holmes the whole story and everything he had seen. He was horrified by the events. He was the skipper of the Gay Jan and immediately agreed to take Lee back out on the water to try to recover Robert's body, hoping that the shark was still entangled in the ropes as before. As the two men were racing out to the shark, they saw other divers in the water and periodically stopped to get them out of the water, explaining what had happened and how the water was not currently safe. The divers very gratefully got into their boat, thanking them for helping them avoid the same fate that had befallen Robert. By the time they reached the dive point, they had a lot of people in the boat keeping an eye out for the shark. Suddenly, someone spotted it, still trapped in the same ropes that Lee had left it. The scene looked like it could have come from a horror movie, blood and body parts littering the ocean surrounding the shark. They could see that Robert's torso was still in the shark's mouth, but the rest of his body was gone. It had either sank to the seafloor or the shark had already begun to eat his body. The group tried to pull the shark towards the boat to retrieve Robert's body parts, but as they were just within reach, the ropes encasing the shark snapped. The divers quickly pulled back, not knowing how the shark would now react. But luckily for them, it swam away from the scene, taking what was left of Robert with it. It's believed that the shark thought that the men were sea lions, as their black hooded suits would have given them the same appearance as the shark's natural prey. When Robert began to struggle while being bitten, he would have mimicked the natural reaction of a captured seal, which only would have triggered the predator response of the shark. It's unlikely that the shark was aware that it was preying on a human instead of a seal, but as the apex predator of the ocean, everything is considered to be a prey animal to the great white shark. People have been advised to wear different colored suits or stay out of the bay when there are high numbers of sharks, but the area continues to attract thousands of visitors every year despite this. A few months after the attack, a monument was erected by Robert's family to commemorate his life and pay tribute to others who died in such a horrific manner. Around the same time, a radio station posted a $500 reward for the experienced fisherman who could take down the shark responsible for Robert's death. One man, Peter Godby, spent 24 hours throwing whale meat into the water in the hopes of glimpsing the shark, but without success. The reward was widely advertised across Western Australia, although no one was able to ever claim the prize, and the shark was never found. With an average lifespan of great white shark at 40 to 70 years, it's possible that this shark is still lurking the waters off the coast of Australia to this day, waiting for the perfect opportunity to strike again.